All right, so you guys, I'm seeing some things that I just kind of want to address really quick for you guys to help out with the momentum of keeping your grades going. First of all, I totally am feeling a certain kind of burnout level that's happening with a lot of you, which I totally understand. College was not intended to be something that you did while you have a full-time job and kids and all of that. So, you know, it's a struggle. I mean, I'm not saying that you know, I'm not. I just want to clarify that I want to encourage you to keep going. I'm not saying because you have those things you can't make it. What I'm just saying is that it's natural that you would start feeling a certain amount of exhaustion. Okay. And so I always want to be here for you guys to help kind of keep your momentum going. The other side of it is though is that I'm seeing a little bit of a pitfall in some of the way the papers are going that I just want to say. And I wrote to some of you on this from the exams to like just when I'm trying to finish up grading on the last paper. Um, some of you are using outside sources or sources that are not um, that basically every topic I've had. You don't need to go to outside sources, as I've mentioned early on in this class. My lectures are very much on topic, and they often simply add a certain kind of emphasis on something or a little more detail that's not in the textbook. I will admit, every once in a while, I have to go back and reread the textbook that sometimes a student will use heavily from the textbook, and the content doesn't sound as familiar to me because they're touching on something like in their paper um, that I never really talked about, but was mentioned in the textbook. And that's okay. I think even wrote to one student saying like, "Hey, make sure you use material that's been discussed." Well, it's my bad. If it's in the textbook, that counts. But your papers should be indicating something. I just want to encourage. I kind of slipped on this. I'm not asking you to use MLA form or anything like that. But from now on, I kind of want to see where you're getting your information from because not only that, I'm getting information that is not clearly coming from my text, and I'm also getting things that are coming from outside uh, the textbook or not talked about heavily. And so if you're drawing from the textbook and you're going to elaborate, just say the page so that you're utilizing. So that way, if if something doesn't seem right to me, I kind of know right away where I can go to and see what you're looking at and maybe correct or polish something that I feel like you might have had a misunderstanding on that particular section. Okay, and I just want to remind you that my papers are very straightforward, but to give you the full points, I need you guys to really stick to the content. So, for example, if I have an exam that's 25 points and it's just something you're writing on, and I ask you to bring up material from a topic that I've covered, it's kind of like assumed that, in my lectures that I brought up important things. So, for example, a lot of you covered the first section great. You talked about Greece's influence on Rome. Then when I said Christianity's influence on Rome, um, some people didn't even mention Constantine or the fact that Theodosius is the one who made it an official religion, or the impact of the church councils on the empire and trying to formulate a unified idea about the nature of Jesus. I went into all these elaborate details, and it's almost like maybe I don't know why that wasn't assumed to be a part, integrated into the text. Some of you may have not actually followed my lectures that closely. Um, I'm not accusing you though. I'm not going to presume, but I just want to address something that could be a slippery slope. Um, my lectures, even if they can be a little bit long-winded at times or whatever, are not arbitrary to any of the assignments that you're doing. And that means watching from the beginning to the end and then maybe asking, what is the point of what I'm trying to say? I had one student call me up and ask what I meant by the term Roman Christianity and she was able to address that clearly. Now, you notice I didn't say tell me about Christianity. I asked about Roman Christianity, which is a kind of linked to almost a repeat of the exam question. So there, I would expect to see the Christianity that develops specifically under the context of Rome. I do feel that some students may be thinking of Christianity in the terms of their own religious belief systems, or how they remembered or knew it or conceive of it themselves. Remember, I'm not asking those kind of questions. I'm not asking if this is real Christianity. I'm asking about what Roman Christianity was developing, okay? So, I think that the best thing to do, if I gave you any comments that were kind of in context to this, or your grades weren't what you were wanting, you just call me, because I'll always make an added clarification for you on what you need to do, okay? So I'm always accessible for things like this. And, if your grades on any of your upcoming papers don't reflect what you think they should have, and you feel that my instructions were not clear enough, I'm not offended by that either. I mean, I'm here for all of you guys. And even when I'm asking some of you to call me, I really want you to call me. And part of it is not just that I'm like going to give you a lecture. I want to go over things to make sure that I am clear and that I can help you out. When I teach in person in a face-to-face class, normally what I would do is I would grade the paper. If I noticed something that I thought, I want to talk to a student about it, when the exam's done, I would say, hey, so-and-so, let me just talk to you really quick. And then we could just kind of talk over it. I don't have that ability. So, and I hear the phone ringing right now. And perhaps it's one of you. So I'm going to go now, and again, call me if you got any questions.